Since I was a child, I had always felt that something about me was different. I couldn't quite explain it, but there were moments fleeting, unpredictable when time itself seemed to bend around me. In those moments, I would find myself somewhere else, somewhere impossible, as if history had reached out and pulled me inside. One of those moments changed everything. It was a scorching afternoon in Jerusalem. I wandered through my grandfather's small workshop, watching as he carefully shaped gold and silver into sacred ornaments. His hands, aged but steady, worked with the precision of someone who had dedicated his entire life to his craft. I traced my fingers over ancient scrolls, their delicate illustrations depicting stories I had heard countless times. I closed my eyes for a moment, and when I opened them again, everything had changed. The heat was different, more intense. The air was drier, carrying the scent of sand and something distant, almost ancient. The ground beneath my feet was no longer solid stone but fine, burning sand that shifted with every step. I turned in confusion, my heart pounding. Before me stretched an endless desert, golden dunes rolling under a blinding sun. A warm breeze swept past me, whispering across the landscape like an unseen presence. I had no idea where I was, or how I had gotten there. I wandered, my footsteps sinking into the sand, until I spotted a lone figure in the distance, an old man tending a flock of sheep. He wore long, simple robes, his posture humble yet firm, as if unseen forces guided his every step. There was something about him, something beyond the ordinary. His movements were deliberate, his eyes full of contemplation, as if carrying the weight of knowledge that only time could bestow. Then, a sudden glow caught my eye, a flame flickering between the rocks. My breath caught in my throat as I turned toward it. A bush was burning, engulfed in brilliant, twisting flames. But something was wrong, the fire consumed nothing. The branches remained whole, untouched, even as the fire raged. It was unnatural, yet mesmerizing. The flames danced in a rhythm unknown to this world, casting shadows that seemed to move with a life of their own. The old man turned as well. He froze, his body rigid with astonishment. His staff trembled in his grasp. I could hear his breathing quicken, his disbelief mirroring my own. Then, a sound deep, resonant, powerful rolled through the desert, vibrating through the air itself. It was not a sound made by wind or nature, it was something far greater. The voice carried an authority that demanded attention, yet it was not harsh, it was steady, filled with immeasurable wisdom and command. I couldn't move. My pulse pounded in my ears. The power in that voice sent shivers through my very soul. The man fell to his knees, his hands trembling as he covered his face. I knew, without a doubt, that I was witnessing something sacred, something beyond human comprehension. The voice continued to speak, its words shaping reality itself. The man listened, his entire body quivering under the weight of what he was hearing. It was as if his very soul was being reshaped in that moment, as if centuries of destiny had come crashing into this single point in time. His name was Moses. I knew now where I was, and I knew what I was witnessing. This was the divine calling of the man who would one day stand before Pharaoh, who would part the seas and lead an entire nation to freedom. This was the beginning of one of the greatest journeys ever told. The air around me crackled with energy, the weight of history pressed against my chest. Every grain of sand seemed to tremble as if acknowledging the significance of this moment. layers of the past and the future intertwined. My senses were overwhelmed by the enormity of it all, the presence of something far beyond my understanding. Then, as suddenly as it had begun, a rush of energy surged through me. The desert blurred, the wind howled, and the world spun violently. My vision darkened. For a brief moment, I felt weightless, as if floating between time itself. And then silence. I gasped, my breath coming in short bursts as I found myself back in my grandfather's workshop. The familiar scent of metal and parchment filled my lungs. The world had returned to normal, yet nothing felt the same. My skin still tingled with the energy of what I had seen. My mind raced with the weight of it. It wasn't just a dream. It wasn't a vision. It was real. I didn't know how or why this was happening to me. But one thing was certain. My journey had only just begun.